Hey guys, Scott here, Fine Baron Craftsman. Got another video coming at you. Um, this one's going to be maybe back a little bit more to my original videos, trying to help out the younger crowd. And this is like kind of funny. It just came out randomly. I come from a more of like a little bit of a depressed morning, thinking about some negative things and allowing the positivity to kind of creep back in and try to not suppress the sadness from earlier in the videos. This morning I was very down about what's going on in the world, and that's not going to change. It's kind of like a normal ever since the last couple of years. I think it's like always like this dark cloud over things, and you try to fight through it. Today it was hard on me, but I want to talk about dating. I want to talk about like a lot of people, at least my point of view is they set out an ideal mate, male, female, whatever. Um, they set out and look for like an ideal person, and they said like they align these categories in people. Like, all right, does he do this? Does she do that? Right? Are they into this? What do we have in common? Political views. What are they doing with their diet? How they look physically? And you try to find this perfect version. We all know it's impossible because it's something that's in our head. We're building this. I used to call it like a Ken doll or a Barbie. This it doesn't mean that I'm attracted to Barbie doll girls, but it means that this perfectly, mesmerized version of what you think is attractive, especially as a young man, right, or young girl. It's funny because in life, I've wanted a certain type of job. I want a certain type of car. I want a certain type of friend group, right? I've been very good at like thinking of things that I want, right? And say it'd be really cool to like. I remember watching The Real World on MTV and being like, all these people came together, live in a house, they're all strangers, they're having fun, they're going out partying, they're getting to know each other. There's some drama, but it's like exciting. And like you see like these Laguna Beach shows, but later on after that, and like these people are like out on the beach, who's surfing and who's doing this and looks great. Right? Oh, why can't I have a friends group like that? Like we go out on the beach and have bonfires. And maybe there's a bunch of people that have this, but it wasn't ever the case for me. I have good friends. I've had little pockets of friends and pop around for different things. And you get portions of what you want. I learned that very, very important lesson in my life, that you're never going to get exactly what you want, but you get something that's better. It's weird or different, or you needed it, like, um, so when you set out like on a dating site, let's say you're on a dating site and you got all these choices, you have your age group, you have your athletic build, or maybe you want someone that's a little bit uh, overweight, you want someone that's extra thin, or you want someone tall. Like you have all these preferences. You can decide, nationality or race. You could pick out. Maybe you can do that. I don't know. So you're scanning along, and you're reading the things about them, and you're trying to figure out. You're like, hey, this one kind of gets close to what I want. You send them, boom, 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 boom. That's what's wrong with the sites. I mean, they probably work for a lot of people. They wouldn't go on them and spend the money and do all that stuff. But for me, being open to the options worked great. And it got me where I wanted to be anyway. Music, right? People say like you can jam out, with a group of people and sometimes just mess around a guitar, and that's maybe the best guitar you'll play. When you're thinking about a song, trying to make the best song ever written, like, Jack Black, Tenacious D or something, you're trying to pull it all together, and to me it doesn't follow so easily. It doesn't flow. So the way I see I've gotten better at social interactions is not thinking, right? Thinking with buffers, maybe we could say that, because everybody has to have a border of what they're going to say. But being more open, especially in the little areas where you're worried about what people are going to think, it doesn't really matter in there. That stuff doesn't matter. The wider borders, am I going to insult somebody? Am I going to say the wrong thing? I remember I was over a friend's house, and one of the parents said, anybody with tattoos is horrible. That's a horrible thing to do. And like everybody that I know has tattoos, period. So it's like, and you're pretty much putting your foot in your mouth. That's the kind of things that you kind of try to have bumpers on, like the bowling alley. When you put the bumpers in there. But don't let your minds and your securities or self, image be affected by what you're going to say. And odds are you'll probably make just as many friends as you would if you were perfect, and just kept everything, you know, real tight, real tight-lipped. So that's why, like, I look to like people that, go on these dating sites and they're looking for this thing. I never met anybody on a dating site that was like it for me. They were nice people, the girls I met, nice families maybe, and just didn't jive because I think it was too specific. Like you're designing something for yourself, and if you don't believe in fate, right? I guess that's the way you do it. If you do believe in fate, it's kind of like this spontaneous thing. That's how I met my wife. I had no reason to talk to her. I hadn't talked to a friend in a long time. I got invited out to a wedding and there was a girl there and we just had a little conversation. That was it. And after that, I talked to her again at a party. I'm forever indebted to these guys for introducing us. And I don't talk to them as much as I would like to anymore. But I appreciate the, just us being in the right place at the right time to meet and make this family. It goes with business, I think. It goes with companies. It goes with careers. Like, what are you supposed to be doing? I want to buy a house to rent out and make money, passive income. I want to get a hotel. I want to get a motel. I want to get a place on the water. Like, you have all these specifics, right? You got it all figured out. I want to go to this resort area and find this cabin, and I'm going to rent it for quadruple, what I pay for the mortgage, and it's going to be great and be rich. The stuff that we bought, the places that we ended up, that wouldn't have been the plan when we got here. It comes to us, and be open to it. If my kid was picky about what he wore, yet he's young still, he doesn't know. We went into the store. The size boots are on the shelf. They're marked down because their box is ripped out. Maybe they weren't. They're a matching set. Great. They're snow boots. They cost X amount of dollars. We got them marked down because I asked. I'm trying to save money, right? I went in there. And if he was picky, I want blue boots. Well, now we got to pay $150. Like right there, that's the type of personality that goes and transcends into being older. I want a silver Mustang with silver rims. That's what I got. I didn't want that. I'm just saying that's what I wound up buying because I wanted to get a car, and my dad walked me to the dealership, and I got a silver Mustang with silver rims. It wasn't my first choice, but I would have taken black, blue, green, probably not red. I'm not into, I never had a red car besides a red pickup truck, and I painted it camo real quick after I got it. Just not something I like. But he loves red, whatever. I guess the point of all this is that stay fluid, stay open. If you're in a career and somebody knocks on your office door and says, hey, you want to be a manager of this? No, that's not what I was hired for. That's not what my career says. That's not what my bachelor's degree or my master's degree is in. But maybe they don't like you because of those things. They like you because of your personality and how your work ethic is. That's not on a report card, Just because you got good grades doesn't mean you had like the best personality in the world. So they're giving you an offer to do something that's outside your wheelhouse, and it might potentially make a future for you, like, easier room to advance. Not easier, but maybe more comfortable daily job. So like being strict and staying focused on the things that you set out to do doesn't allow the nuance to flow in. And so there's a guy I watch, Ian Rosell. I talked about him a while ago, custom cars, builds cars. When he's dreaming up these cars, okay, granted, I think he's pretty much set. He's got a TV show. He's got a lot of people that want him to build cars his way. So he has complete artistic expression and a complete artistic freedom to do whatever he wants. So that's when you can kind of lay back and, kind of be yourself. In the beginning, you got to be scared. Like, all right, I got to make sure I do this the way this guy wants or this girl wants. I got to make this car customized in a way that's going to really attract the buyer, because now you're doing it. So when he does his customization now, he allows room for that interpretation and that spontaneous, whether he throws a bunch of fiberglass on a car and makes a supercar out of a car that was pretty much junk, or, there's another guy, Bad Chad, I watch. He's got his personality and it's pretty cool to watch, got a positive outlook on things, and he's doing things that he doesn't care what people think. And he's built some one-off creations that people are going to go look at, and they're going to say, I wouldn't do that. But they're there looking at it. It's generating interest. It's all because you're leaving room for the financial concern. Like, I'm going to be cheap and I'm going to use a satellite dish for part of the car because I have it, you know, or I don't want to go buy a fancy tool. I'm going to go bend the pipe on the ground. Like, he bends the pipe on the exhaust pipe on the ground. He bangs on the ground or bends pipe, and instead of having like a pipe bender. Long story short, I guess the topic of this video and what was inspired to me today, just to talk about, I guess, from my brain, is to leave room. Hey, I'll never live in a townhouse. Hey, man, you might be getting a townhouse like in the lap of luxury that's rent free. I'll never live, in the city again. Well, maybe the city that you're in really promotes the music interest that you have, or maybe you met some of the best friends of your life in that city, so you're not necessarily in the place that you projected. I always wanted to come up to the mountains, but I never allowed myself to move to it before this, because I felt like, maybe it wasn't going to happen for me, or maybe, in all honesty, like, am I going to be able to find a mate that's going to be attracted to being far out in the rural country? A lot of women that I ran across growing up like to be in the cities and be around the cultures and try the different cool foods and all. And when you get out into the country, it becomes more like, hometown, salt of the earth people. This is like good, great stuff. But like, the generation that I grew up in was kind of big on, what's the big thing to do? And like, I want to go out for nightlife, or I want to go see music at local bars that are playing like a type of music that I like. So I did grow up in that melting pot, It's funny, I could have grew up here and maybe been sick of this and want to be in that environment. I don't know. Long story short, again, to help those people that might be struggling with decisions, that might be struggling with specific wants, open up your range. You're not sacrificing your dream. You're allowing the room for the improvisation of reality and life, because that is what it's going to do anyway. If you allow the room for that to work, your life will be a lot more fluid, like two notes that are in key. I always said that, like, when I was chopping a car and I laid the roof down, yeah, I could slam it and say I got the smallest roof chop, the biggest roof chop anybody in town's got, but I can't see out the window. But like, when you get that flow, if you don't understand what chopped cars are, you look them up. But it's about the backbone of that windshield, how the roof goes into the back trunk area, and how it flows. Gene Winfield talks about the flow. Yeah, to me, it was right, it's almost like a harmonic or in key note, and it feels good, and when you're in the right place, you're in tune with stuff. So anything I tried to force never worked. Relationships that I thought were the right person, or this was it was built up in my head. The woman I'm with is perfect for me. That's just how it went. But everything I did to get her wasn't the normal thing. I didn't go out of my way to try to get into her hobbies or be cool or do things that maybe I would have did younger life. I was already established. So maybe that's also a good point to like kind of wait till a little bit longer before you get into a really serious marriage type relationship, because it'll give you time to figure out who you are. I was like, find yourself. The ground foundation's there, from your upbringing and your life circumstances, life events that led you to who you are. But there's still room to polish that out before you get into a serious relationship and potentially have a family. What do they call it? Like the nuclear family? Is that even still something that people are aspiring for these days? I don't know. We can go on all day about it. And I will go on all day about other things. But thank you for watching. This is an advisory, maybe advice type video. It worked for me. I ended up with everything I always wanted and didn't even know what half of it was. And the stuff that I maybe aspired for was so not even up to who I am now, right? Man, if I would have just stuck on one thing and ended up there and forced it, that's what I'm saying. It seems It seems too abrasive to get there. You want it to flow. Life should flow, be fluid. Thanks for watching.